morning and welcome back to the lecture series on performative gender and religions in South Asia. So, today we will discuss two more classical dance forms. One is Odissi, the other is Satriya. So, starting with Odissi, we see that Odissi dance has nearly 2000-year-old heritage, and according to the historical resources, the Manchapuri Gumpha of Udaygiri, which was carved during the reign of King Maha Meghavahana Aida Kharvela. It was carved during the reign of King Kharvela. It contains the earliest distinct representations of an Odissi dance. So, Odissi dance is originally from Odisha, which is Odisha today. Odissi dance was regularly performed at Shaivite, Vaishnavite and Sakta temples of Odisha, starting with the ceremonies of Sri Jagannath temple in Puri. Odissi dance was originally created as a court dance form, and over the time it became connected with the Jaina monasteries due to royal patronage. So, later on we see that it also is performed in different places of worship, which include the Buddhist monasteries. So, Odissi as a dance form is connected not only with the Hindu gods and goddesses, but it has also been patronized by the Jain and Buddhist rulers, and it has been performed in the Jain and Buddhist shrines. Now, the eastern Indian state of Odisha is the place where the classical dance form known as Odissi first emerged, and it is one of India's 8 classical dance genres. Since the 12th century, the Devdasi dancers, who were also called the Maharis, right, have performed Odissi at the temples. Mahari means those who are dedicated to the dance, and they have performed Odissi in the temple premises. Odissi uses movements and gestures to convey ancient music and poetry. Many of the lines read during the Odissi performance are from Jayadev Goswami's Gita Govinda, which is a compilation of romantic, or we could say erotic poetry in Sanskrit. The dance postures have been recorded for future generations in the friezes. What are friezes? Friezes are the sculpted embellishments in the walls of the Sun Temple in Konark, and so we see these friezes available from the 13th century, which feature the musicians, dancers and other performers related to the dance tradition of Odissi, or the dance form of Odissi. It is as old as the Sun Temple, if not older than that, because we see its sculptures on the friezes on the walls of the temple. The Odissi dance consists primarily of 5 stages or 5 sections. The dancer enters the stage during the Mangalacharan, which begins with a flower offering to Lord Jagannath, the god of the Odissi dance. So, Jagannath is evoked, he is propitiated by the dancer, and blessings are sought before the performance begins. This is the stage of Mangalacharan. Mangalacharan is followed by Pushpanjali, or offering of flowers, and Bhumi Pranam, which is salutation to Mother Earth. The invocation also includes Trikhandi Pranam, or the threefold salutation, which include salutation to the Devs, or the different deities, the Gurus or the teachers, and then to the Loks or Rasikas, which includes the fellow dancers and the audience. So, it is a kind of thanksgiving which marks the inception of this performance, and this is true in the case of different classical dance forms from different regions of India. We see that invocation of gods and goddesses, acknowledgement and welcoming of the audience, all these things lead to the main performance, right? It is like setting the stage, setting the platform for the main performance. The next sequential step after Bhumi Pranam and Trikhandi Pranam would be Batu. So, Batu, which is also known as Batu Nritya or Sthai Nritya or Batuk Bhairav. It is a fast-paced pure dance performed in the honor of Shiva. So, Batuk Bhairav or Batu Nritya is dedicated to Lord Shiva. There is no song or recitation accompanying this part of the dance, just rhythmic music. We see that this Batu Nritya or Sthai Nritya builds up to Pallavi, the next stage. So, Pallavi is often slow, graceful and lyrical movements of the eyes, neck, torso and feet of the dancer, and it slowly builds to a climax in a fast tempo. So, there is a kind of crescendo, there is a kind of cascading of the tempo from slow to fast. And Pallavi is a complex fusion of intricate rhyming schemes, music, movements and expressions. The stage after Pallavi is called Abhinay or an expressional dance, which is an enactment of a song or poetry. So, the dancer communicates a story through sign language, through gestures, using mudras or hand movements, bhavas or enacting mood and emotions, as well as eye and body movements. Then we see moksha. Moksha in Sanskrit means salvation. So, this final section of Odissi dance represents the dancer's submission, a wholehearted submission to God, and percussion instruments are used to accompany its quick tempo. In Odissi dance form, there are three body positions, namely Tribhangi, Chauka and Samabhanga. Let us take them up one by one. Tribhangi entails three bends. During this position, the head, hip and knee bends are prominent and the hand ought to be positioned halfway down the thigh. So, after Tribhangi comes Chauka. For this posture, alongside a lofty upper body, the legs are bowed and pointed outward. The hands are pointed forward and the arms are levelled with the bowed shoulders. Finally, Samabhanga. The dancer stands upright with her toes pointed forward and her feet together. On either side of the waist, the hands are fisted at the hips. So, these are the three main body positions commonly found in Odissi dance. So, we see that there is a transformation and metamorphosis in the course of the journey that Odissi undertakes. By the 1970s, the Odissi dance style is no longer considered as a subset of Bharatanatyam, but rather it is a separate and ancient dance tradition in its own right. So, it kind of attains its own autonomy by the 1970s. Sunil Kothari describes in Odissi Indian classical dance art that this dance form incorporates elements of the oral traditions and practices both of Carnatic music and Hindustani classical music. So, it belongs to the Carnatic and the Hindustani cultural matrices. This is a very peculiar exchange that we see in the case of Odissi. Following the discovery of Odissi dance artifacts, it has been established that some aspects of Odissi postures, movements and themes may be linked back to the sculptures from the 2nd century as well as to the specific Natya Shastra connections that are associated with the state of Odisha. So, Gita Govinda is a collection of ecstatic erotic songs that are dedicated to Lord Krishna, and Krishna is seen as the quintessential male lover in this Vaishnavite tradition of worship known as bhakti. So, regardless of the devotee's gender, all the devotees of Krishna are connected with the Radha Bhav, right? They have this Radha's never ending feeling of longing and yearning for the Lord's presence. And so, all the devotees, regardless of whether they are male or female, consider themselves as Radha to this quintessential Nayak or lover that Krishna is. So, the internal act of devotion in Vaishnavite worship is associated with Madhuri. The choreographic techniques used by one of the famous male Odissi dancers, namely Kelucharan Mahapatra, disrupts the audience's habit, the audience's time-worn habit of identifying with a strictly male or female orientation. So, he is experimenting with the traditional understanding of gender or the gendered stereotypes associated with the dancers, the kinds of gaze that the male and the female dancers or performers sustain. He is experimenting and blurring the traditional yardsticks. He is playing with the traditional yardsticks in a way. So, the performer audience exchange inherent in the tradition of darshan supports the original ritualistic purpose of the dance, right, which is transforming the viewer's state. So, just like when there is an eye contact of the devotee with the deity, there is a kind of rasa evoked in the heart of the deity. Similarly, there is a kind of connection happening between the performer and the audience through the performance, which transforms the viewer's state. It evokes certain rasas depending on the emotions or depending on the bhavas being displayed on the stage. When the relationship further carries over to staged and televised performances of the classical dance, it involves an alternative gaze, right? And it involves diverse performer audience positions, right? It is one thing when the audience is sitting in a hall, in an auditorium and watching the performer live. And it is another thing when this is recorded, pre-recorded, it is frozen in a way and it is being televised. The whole concept of darshan, the audience performer eye contact, engagement and evocation or evoking of rasa changes, right? So, it entails a number of different meanings vis-a-vis performer audience positions and the question of gaze, right? It is no longer live when it is being televised. The modern day Odissi, however, is the result of reconstruction from a variety of Odissi dance traditions, which include the Mahari, Goptua and Bhanda Nritya traditions. The Devdasis from the southern regions are the Mahari's counterparts, whereas Goptuas are essentially men who performed Mahari dances while dressing as female dancers. They are males that impersonated females while dancing. Pankaj Charan Das, who is a famous guru of Odissi, came from a Mahari family, and it is often said that he is responsible for teaching the Mahari style of Odissi. He is one of the forerunners of the Mahari style of Odissi. Similarly, Dev Prasad Das is an important name associated with the dance form. Dev Prasad has been a member of an akhada in Puri, which is a place where young men trained in combat and bodybuilding techniques would play the mardala. They would smoke bhang, dance, and sing and kind of amuse and entertain each other. That is the culture of akhada, where a figure like Dev Prasad Das, an important figure associated with Odissi dance form, had been groomed. This is a performance of Odissi. We see the instrumentalists sitting in the background and the coordinated hand and leg movements, the facial gestures. It entails a lot of training and skills in order to perform such dance form. It has some similarity in a way with Bharatanatyam, but like we have already discussed, it has separated itself, and it has been able to claim an autonomous identity in the late 20th century as a separate dance form. After this, we come to the next classical dance form, which is Satriya. Satriya is a branch of the new Vaishnavite movement that was started by Srimanta Sankardev in Assam in the 15th century. It had its beginnings in the Satra monastery. So, Sankardev spread the concept of Ek Sharan Namadharma, in other words, devotional chanting of one God's name. The fundamental attitude of Satriya dancers sets them apart from other dancing styles. It is known as Purush Pak for men and Prakriti Pak for women. The dance is based on the ideas drawn from mythologies. It uses the traditional Assamese music, which is known as Borgit. Also, it refers to or makes use of musical instruments, including the huge cymbals and drums, the vibrant costumes, and intricate choreography. It makes reference to different tals for each stanza that are performed by the vocalist, in addition to having specific mnemonic bowls. So, the bowl, the tal, the cymbal, the drum, the influence of Assamese Borgit, all of these in addition to the vibrant and colorful costumes together make up the effect of Satriya dance. So, Ankiya Bhavna and Ojapuli dances are both included within the corpus of Satriya dances, and they entail the lead singer singing, performing abhinay, telling stories, and a group of backup dancers who dance and play small cymbals. Srimanta Sankaradeva served as a potent tool and a medium for spreading the Vaishnava religion. Sankaradeva created a wide range of dance forms that combined art with devotionalism or bhakti tradition. Drama and music were used to better or to develop the Assamese culture, which afterwards also attracted and incorporated certain esoteric tantric influences. So, Sankardeva introduced the concept of satras. Satra meaning Vaishnav mutts or monasteries. So, because of its religious character and association with the satras or the monasteries or mutts, this dance style has been aptly called as Satriya. So, the root, the etymological root of Satriya dance traces back to Satra or monastery. Srimanta Sankaradeva wrote several plays which include Kaliyadaman, Keli Gopala, Rukmini Haran, Parijat Haran, and Ramavijaya. Except for Ramavijaya Nata, the Bhagavat Puran serves as a constant inspiration and it influences the themes of the Satriya plays. So, Madhavadeva is another figure who has contributed vastly to the Satriya tradition. He is credited with writing a number of hymns, including Arjun Bhanjana, Choradhara, Pimpara Guchuva, Bhumi Lutiva, Rasa Jhumura, Bhusana Harana, and Kotora Khelova. So, the Satriya dances follow the authoritative treatises and dictats set forth by Bharat Muni's Natya Shastra. They are greatly informed by Natya Shastra's prescriptions. So, Satriya dance tradition is governed by strictly laid down principles with respect to the hand gestures or hasta mudras, the choreographic patterns, footwork, the distinctive abhinayas as well as the music and deployment of a variety of masks. The Satriya tradition has two distinct streams. One is the Bhavana related repertoire, which comprises the dramatic representations beginning with the Gayan Bayanar Nach and then continuing with the Sutradhari Nach, the Gosai Pravesha and the Gopi Pravesha Nach. And the Bulan or gait is the term used for foot motions. The dancers from Satriya tradition adhere to particular footwork styles. The names of some of the gaits include the Hasti Bulan or elephant gait, the Mayur Bulan or peacock gait, the Shankha Bulan or conch gait, the Ghora Bulan or horse gait, as well as the Singha Bulan or lion gait. These different gaits appear to be the echoes of more traditional names such as the Gajalila Gati, the Tarangini Gati, the Aswat Plavana Gati, the Simhi Gati, etc. So, these different bulans or gaits echo with the traditional names. Some traditional names such as Gajalila Gati, Tarangini Gati, Aswat Plavana Gati, Simhi Gati, and so forth. The Satriya dances known as Bhariman have certain footwork patterns that they adhere with. So, some of the examples of footwork patterns include Chirol, Leseri, Nupur, Chalowa, Kerepi, Juti, Tewai, and so forth. The Satriya dances frequently feature powerful and stunning Vachika Abhinaya, especially those connected to the characters of Ankiya Nat. Ankiya Nat is a class of one-act play performed in Assam. Here we see the figure of Sutradhar as a very important. He is an important character that stays on the stage throughout the performance and acts as a liaison between the performers and the audience. He is a bridge between the performers and the audience, and he informs the audience of the benefits of Bhakti Rasa. So, he is making an overarching commentary. So, he is within the narrative and yet he is talking from outside of the frame of the narrative. He does abhinay, Sutradhar himself does abhinay while singing, dancing and using different hand gestures to convey the diverse meanings. The Satriya dance represents Aharya Abhinay through its elaborate and unique form. The applications of the costumes, jewelry, makeup, mask as well as effigies each have their own distinct characteristics and significance. The raga and tala systems used in Satriya music are unique and typical, and they do not always follow the rules of either Hindustani, Khayal or kinetic classical music. They have their own unique style. The tals used in dance are typically selected to fit the specific circumstance and mood or attitude of a relevant character in a particular narrative or drama being enacted. So, initially in the Satriya tradition, in the Satriya dance form, the main musical instruments used would be khol or drum as well as tal and cymbal. So, khol and tal were the main musical instruments, but with progression of time, other instruments such as harmonium, tanpura, violin and flute have also been introduced. In the year 2000, Satriya was given the status of a classical dance form by the Sangeet Natak Academy. Here is a live performance of the Satriya classical dance, right? It is deeply inspired and influenced by the Vaishnava tradition. Once again, hearkening back that the name Satriya itself goes back to Satra or monastery, right? So, it is influenced and informed by the Vaishnav bhakti tradition, and at the heart of it there is devotion to Lord Krishna, right? Its founder was a reformer, a social reformer himself, Shankardeva. So, this dance form cannot be dissociated from religious significance. So, with this we come to the end of this lecture. I will continue with the discussion on classical dance form with one more dance form that we discuss in our next lecture. Thank you.